Well, at 3:30 this afternoon, our time, 4.5 hours ago, the lying in state of Queen Elizabeth ended. Not before the public, streaming in to pay their respects to the Queen, watched in astonishment as all her grandchildren, including Prince William and Prince Harry, conducted a vigil by her coffin, the first by a monarch's grandchildren. Dressed in full military uniform, the two brothers stood with heads bowed for 15 minutes to guard their grandmother's coffin, a day after the Queen's 4 children held their own vigil. In the last half hour, a short procession began to transport the coffin to Westminster Abbey on a 123-year-old gun carriage towed by 98 Royal Navy sailors in a tradition dating back to the funeral of Queen Victoria in 1901. King Charles III, members of the royal family and members of the King's household are following the coffin in a procession to Westminster Abbey, which takes about 8 minutes. When the procession arrives at the west gate of the Abbey, the bearer party carries the coffin into the Abbey for the funeral service. The funeral is in 3 parts. The service at Westminster Abbey is at 11 a.m. London time, attended by world leaders, representatives of the Commonwealth, emergency service workers, representatives of the Queen's charity patronages and the wider royal family. The service will be conducted by the Dean of Westminster, David Hoyle, and include readings by the British Prime Minister Liz Truss and the Commonwealth Secretary-General Patricia Scotland. No eulogy from any family member. The sermon will be delivered by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, who'll also deliver the commendation. The service will end with the sounding of the last post and a 2-minute silence. Monarchs from across the world have flown into London to pay their respects. But perhaps the most intriguing guest, certainly for those charged with filling out the invitations, is the 63-year-old King of Malaysia. Now, his full name reads, you'll see this on the screen, Al Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al Mustafa Billah Shah Ibni Al Mahum Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Al Musta in Billah. And then the post-nominals, as you've seen, come after all of that. So the funeral, as I said, is in 3 parts. The service in Westminster Abbey at 11 a.m. in the historic Westminster Abbey that can hold about 2,000 people. After the service, the coffin is returned to the gun carriage for the procession to Wellington Arch at the top of Hyde Park Corner at 1 o'clock. That is thought to take an hour. The royal family's grief will once more be on display as the King and other members of the royal family will walk behind the coffin. National Health Service staff will be given the honour of walking in front of the late Queen's coffin in recognition of their work during the pandemic.